Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Isaac Wolf, and joining me, as always, is my good friend and heroic co-host and my hero stuff, Michael Bubble. How's it going, bud?
What's poppin', homie?
Yeah. Do you know why Thomas the Tank Engine like bubblegum?
Why, Mad
Because
Doc
he
Isaac?
because he's a shoo train.
It's gonna be one of those episodes, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And on top of Michael Bubble, we have our bubbly boy, the Scarlet Fan. How's it going, Brandon?
Jake Gyllenhaal will always and forever be an underrated actor, said no one, except those that only know him from Bubble Boy.
Did, did, did you hear about the Mandalorian who was addicted to bubble tea, Brandon?
Um, what?
He was Boba Fettered.
Oh my!
It's
I
gonna be
wrote,
one of those shows. It's gonna be one of those shows. So
I
yeah,
wrote, I wrote about puns after I watched the movie. Uh, uh, with Bubble as the subject.
that what you were doing during the Snorfest of a movie?
Damn!
Norfest.
Damn!
Norfest.
And so it
Aren't you?
begins.
Are you? That's harsh, buddy.
So I think
Yeah.
I think we need to establish first what we're
Okay.
talking about before we
Well,
just burn it or pop it. I
well.
got a pun. Um,
Yay.
stop.
Well, we are talking. The movie we are talking about is the recently animated movie from WIT Studios known as The Bubble, and the synopsis goes as follows.
Whoa. I need. I'm sorry. I'm being really stupid. The Bubble is actually the name of a different movie on Netflix. Was actually is completely separate to this movie. This movie is just Bubble.
Yeah, I said
No,
Bubble.
you said the Bubble. That's why.
Okay,
Which The Bubble is an awful, awful movie. Don't bother watching it. But this review is about Bubble, which is not
okay,
as bad
Bubble.
as The Bubble. Just keep
Not
that in mind.
Buble.
It's
Um,
it's well. Let's restart here. It's the movie. It's a new movie from WIT Studios known as Bubble, and the synopsis goes as follows: In a Tokyo where gravity has broken, a boy and a girl are drawn to each other. The story is set in Tokyo after bubbles that broke the laws of gravity rain down upon the world. Cut from the outside world, Tokyo has become a playing ground for a group of young people who had lost their family, acting as a battlefield for parkour team battle as they leap from building to building. Hibiki, a young ace known for his dangerous playing style, makes a reckless move one day and plummets into the gravity-bending sea. His life is saved by Uta, a girl with mysterious powers. The pair then hear a unique sound audible only to them. Why did Uta appear before Hibiki? Their encounter leads to a revelation that will change the world. With that said, well, let's start with you, Brandon. What were your first expression about the movie after you watched it?
so so everybody knows that I like to find deep meaning on everything because I overthink things. Not overthink things, but I want to treat everything as art. So, Bubble for me, it's a movie. Um, that's pretty much it. No, I'm kidding.
Riveting
It's
stuff
it's
there,
it's a
Brandon.
it's a movie, but I had a couple of issues with it because it's a movie about a bunch of ideas, but it's a movie that doesn't say anything, and that's the biggest issue that I have. And I also have issues with the art style at times, and but but I like the concepts. I I could say that I liked the characters, but I couldn't find a hook. I couldn't find something special. I couldn't find something that exceeds my expectations, or at least met my expectations. Because I did have a lot of expectations, because from the trailers that I saw, this movie looked very interesting. The animation in the trailer looked like it was popping out of the screen, and this is from someone that still cries whenever he watches Your Name. This from someone that thinks that Weathering with You is some of the most beautiful animation I've ever seen in my life. Um, and in comparison with Demon Slayer. But I don't know. It didn't meet the expectations that I have for it. Maybe I had too high expectations, but I did have issues with it. And as we could discuss, I'll share.
Mike, what did you think?
This movie was boring. The story didn't click with me at all. I'm just gonna be
Oh my
honest. Like
God.
it's gorgeous. It's gorgeously animated. I don't know the problems.
Wait. Are we recording The Godfather or Bubble?
Godfather wishes it was animated as well as Bubble.
Whoa!
It's a live action movie. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke.
Calm
But-
down.
But like, I think the animation is gorgeous. It felt like a demo reel for WIT Studios, because you're watching it on Netflix and you see this Warner Media logo pop up, which is really weird for me. But it felt like it was a demo reel of, look at what this studio can do. You know us from Attack on Titan and from SpyXFamily.
Yeah.
This is the stuff we can do when we're given a budget. It felt like a demo reel showcasing the beautiful artistry and animation from the studio. The story, it's just not there for me. It doesn't click. It's gorgeous. Like, again, I think that's why the trailers spoke to us so much, because the idea is there, the mastery behind the animation is there, but everything else just doesn't come through.
It's funny that you
Before I say
mention.
anything else, go ahead.
It's funny that you mention Attack on Titans and all that, yes, because the director, known as Tetsuro Araki, I hope I said that name correctly, guess what he is mostly known for?
I'm gonna assume Attack on Titan since you
Yeah.
mentioned it.
Shown in New Conan. Attack on Titan. He has mostly done as a director, done Attack on Titan stuff. And honestly, knowing the cure, if you really think about it in terms of choreography there, and the flying session, the flying battles against the Titans, I would argue that you can see that within Bubble here.
The
in terms
bubble
of animation.
parkour is really dope, I will say.
Yes, and that is actually the. So I'm glad that you said that, Isaac, and that you second that, because the battle part, which is the battle core, whatever they call it, that's the most interesting thing. But that was the thing that made the least sense. You know what I mean? Like, correction, it did make sense. I think it was the thing that made the most sense, actually. It was simple, to the point, and it looked interesting. And yes, that's where the animation showcased itself. But at times, and I'm going to say this as a old, overly fed in anime and beauty person, there's moments where this animation feels dated. There's moments where this animation doesn't feel like it jumps for me. I feel that the trailers look a lot brighter, more interesting. Like, and having seen stuff like, I'm trying to, what am I thinking about? No, Spy Family is different. But there's just certain shows that I know the animation just stands out more than this. And like for example, and like in terms of a feature, like Attack on Titan, the final season looks better than this, in my opinion.
That's Mappa though, and Mappa is generally better than WIT Studios, even if they are phenomenal.
That being said, it's just that even then, Comics Waves looks better too. But and yes, it's different. But at the same time, in my mind, the way I see it, or maybe I'm thinking of the wrong way, this is not a series. is a feature film. So
You
your
expect to
budget
be on a different level.
exactly, you expect it to be a little bit higher. Not only that, you can do the higher looking resolution takes for certain still images, but you can't do it for the rest of the animation. Because did you guys notice that at certain moments the animation completely changed?
Yeah.
There were
Yeah.
And
moments, and I would expect that. Like for example, we see it all the time in old-fashioned anime, like in the first two episodes of My Hero Academia, that moment where Deku is kneeling in front of All Might, and instead of being just regular anime, it looks like a drawing in like a picture frame.
Yeah.
So that kind of change of animation in moments like that, I'm used to it.
A
That's
stylized change. Yeah. Not it
exactly.
just dropping quality type of change.
Exactly, and it's not even like it's there's no changing quality at all. You're taking the same image and you're just making it look different to make a point, right? Here, there's moments, especially when Hibiki and Uta are like very close together, that the animation changes completely, and it goes up in quality like 1,000. And I'm like, why is this happening? It's a choice. It's a choice, but it didn't really
I
grab
feel
with me.
I feel like this is going to be the reverse Godfather because I really enjoyed this movie.
Why did you like it? Please share.
It's because, well, how should I put it? First of all, I think it's kind of obvious of why, and I don't know if maybe it's me thinking about it, but this is from what I connected with it is a movie about emotion and what's something good in terms of being a metaphor for emotion. Bubbles, considering the saying, it can bubble, your feelings can bubble over and all that jazz. And he talks, the main characters talks about fear. They talking about independence. They need to learn how to survive. Just say survive, but just
Burst their
being
puberty bubble? Or, like,
sort of. And as someone that has to face my fear countless a time, and still to some extent have, even though I'm not even connecting with the bubble scenario for obvious reasons, that's another. I can understand how it is to face my fears because, and I think they made that used the bubble part pretty much on point. However, even though I did enjoy this, I would argue that this is a weak copycat of Weathering with You kind of stuff when it comes to the love. Love
it's
the.
I'm gonna have to interject here. This is no ways in comparison at all,
I
not even
was
an attempt.
no, I'm not saying that, but no, I'm not saying that it's not even compared. But hear me out on why I use Loitering with You as an example. We have a girl that is not human for a specific reason. And Mike, have you seen Weathering with You?
I have not.
Okay.
No, you can use you can no, you're not sure, you're not spoiling anything. Anybody that sees the trailer will know that she's supernatural. So don't worry, go.
Yeah. It's more, I don't want to spoil Weathering with You.
No, that's fine. You're not everybody knows she's supernatural. So you're not spoiling anything.
Weathering with,
I mean,
you
I
know,
didn't, but I know now, so you're fine.
No, but it's not a big spoiler. Trust me.
I believe you. I'm just
if,
saying, like,
if
yeah,
Mike sees the
it,
trailer, he'll know. So you're good. Go.
yeah, it's the entire idea of a supernatural girlfriend and all that, yes, and how do you approach it from as an entire. It's it's sort of like they saw Your Name and Weathering with You as a love as a romance story, and make somewhat of a mix between the two. And while I could buy it, it didn't it weren't as connectable as Wedding with You and Your Name. You who have seen both know exactly what I'm talking about. That where it feels like a hybrid.
Agreed. Which
And
which is why I don't agree about the comparison, but I can see what you're saying. Like the whole supernatural girlfriend or supernatural boyfriend.
It's the structure I'm talking about.
It's a genre. It's a genre. It's a subgenre of anime. Yeah.
It's a structure that I'm talking about, and I feel like Weathering with You and Your Name is the best example of what I can use for.
You know what's really funny about that though is that, and for those who are listening, we were talking pre-recording about this movie, and somehow Frozen got brought up in the conversation.
I didn't bring it up here. You brought it up, Mike.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because every theme and idea Isaac says he found in the story, I found in Frozen 2. And I just found it to be way more interesting.
Oh, dear Lord.
I'm not trying to turn this into a conversation about them. I just think that's really funny.
Don't worry. My job is to bring everything together.
I can see what you're meaning about those themes being in Frozen 2 also. I just think that Bubble handles this way better than what Frozen is doing. Or should I say done.
Okay, so here's my problem with both of y'all. No. Okay, look.
Air your grievances, Scarlet fan.
Yes, call me Bubble Boy. Do you imagine if I had the powers of the Flash and I ran, and every time I ran, these bubbles instead of lightning come out? That would be dope. That would be dope. And bubbles coming out of my ass. Okay, so, yeah. So, oh my God,
this is going out of rails.
Yes, there's no rails; it's all bubbles. So,
it says popping off completely.
I mean, the bubbles got to come out somewhere. So,
I can just say we're all living in a bubble, unbelievable bubble.
Well, trust me, you don't want that if it comes. So,
and they should make bubble wrap with cherry-shaped bubbles.
So, what I'm trying to maybe say, if I can stop smiling, so I do get the whole attempt, emphasis on the weak execution of the word attempt.
I wouldn't call it weak, just
hear me out.
Finish line.
Hear me. Well, here's the problem. And yes, to me, I have to say weak. And here's why. The fact that you made a feature film, and the fact that WIT Studio did it, right, with help with the distribution backing of Warner Brothers, right? The Warner Brothers is the distributor in the States, right?
Yeah.
You got to think about this. You have money to do this. You got one shot to tell this story. You got to figure there's like 1 million different animes on this, on the same type of pairing, on the same type of story.
It's funny because you say that, and there's like, I was watching this movie and I'm like, this reminds me of another story.
Right.
And the movie goes out of its way to draw comparisons to the story I was thinking of. And I'm just sitting here like, I wish I was watching that movie instead of this one.
And that's where I'm going. Like, not that I want to watch that movie. Oh, it's not that I want to watch The Little Mermaid. But the issue is this. The way I see it is, if you're going to go out of your way to make a film, you got to know that the competition is very high. You got to know that people are looking for something that's going to make it unique, which is what makes Your Name, The Girl Who Led Through Time, Mirai, that a lot of people are loving, and most of the Ghibli movies, Spirited Away, is the fact that they're taking stories that everybody has told before, but they're finding a hook. They kind of made it seem like they wanted the whole battle core to be the hook, kind of. And everything regarding to that works great. But the MacGuffin and all the story elements that were supposed to be stronger to sustain, it kind of felt like they wanted the battle core to carry the film, and it didn't quite work.
It's weird because it's also a movie. Like, I don't watch a ton of anime films. You guys already know that. But is it weird that this kind of had like an intro like a TV show. It felt like
And
this was supposed to be a mini series.
I was
yeah,
just gonna ask that. Do you think this story would have been suited better for having being a well 8
well,
to 12 12 episode season?
I mean, maybe, but at the same time, if because I would even say the interesting things of the characters take minutes to talk about. Like you don't need a lot of time to explore them. Like maybe this movie's just too long
Yeah.
because you got to think about it. I'm gonna say it. So the villain is jealousy. That's one, and two, I feel so bad for Hibiki because if he wants to get laid in the future, he's gonna cause another bubble phenomenon because Uta bubble form will go red and it's gonna, you know what I mean, like like not that I want to think this, but at
I
the
know
same
that
time,
I worked the one that made
no, but what
the
I'm saying
sexual
is
comment
that
like that.
I'm not trying to make any. I'm trying to make an observation. Like there's
He's
no
out of
clear
line, but he's right.
there's no clear antagonist. We don't even know there's supposed to be an antagonist. Is the antagonist the weather? Is the antagonist the red bubbles? We don't even find out till the end of the final act of the film that the red bubbles are the problem. But we don't even meet the red bubbles. And apparently the red bubbles are part of who she is because she's one with the bubbles. And like there's like if you told me, like, to me, kind of, this would have been more interesting if you take all the battle core out and let's explore the mystery of Uta. Like that would have been like so interesting. But no, we decided to do battle core. Okay, then that's fine. So how about we do the first movie about the battle core and introduce the fact with Uta, and then we cut the movie, and then the whole second part is figuring out what's going on with Uta and how we can reach her. But no, we
It
got to do everything in one film. And you can squeeze everything together, but if you streamline everything to just one film, and that's like a 45-minute short film where because you think about this, all the elements that makes them that are important in the film, if you focus on those and do a 45-minute short film, they're enough because when you know that you're getting a 45-minute story, you don't like, for example, a perfect example of a phenomenal 45-minute story is The Garden of Words by Makoto Shinkai. I think that one's like maybe an hour or maybe 45 minutes, and it's a phenomenal story, and it's only two characters. That's it. So it's like I feel that if they would have made it a short story, because when you think about it with a short story, you don't care who the villain is because you're invested in the characters for the little time you're with them. Does that make sense? Am I popping someone's bubble or am I being crazy?
No,
You're
you
all,
make total sense, and I agree there. It's a film that's an hour and like 40 minutes long, and you're right. It's a lot of it's we're kind of sitting there like, why is this being dragged out a little bit? It reminds me of The Legend of Korra season 1, where like half of the season is dedicated. I'm probably overestimating that, but like a chunk of the season is dedicated to this pro bending hobby that Korra has, and it's cool in theory, but that is detracting from the actual plot of the show. And it's just not meshing well. I feel like that's what's happening here, where there's two cool ideas that aren't meshing together very well, and I think that's the problem. Also, like the main characters just aren't that interesting to me at all. So I don't care about their stories that much. That's just me though.
But it's funny that you say that because, and Isaac, I am going to let you talk. I'm sorry. I am going to shut up right
no,
now.
no, no, it's okay.
I, I don't agree with that the characters are not interesting. I just think that there's so much going on that they're not interesting. That there's not a, there's too much going on for us to kind of find easily what's interesting about them. You know what I
So
mean?
what you're saying, what you're
Like we have
saying that,
like
so what you're
we
saying
have
that
to.
this should have been a series and not a movie.
Maybe, but not even that. Maybe a limited series. I would personally, I would have been perfectly happy if there was no battle core crap and it was just about that's just the way they get around. Because it's funny when you think about it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that how it was pitched in the trailer? That it wasn't like a game thing. It
It
was
didn't
just
seem like a sport in the trailer. I can't
right.
confirm that.
It seemed like, okay, this is the way they travel.
I will admit I
That's
didn't
how
see
they
the trailer
traverse.
before I saw the movie.
Yeah, I was like, this
Yeah,
is the
this
way
isn't the
they.
only movie I've watched that's lied in the trailers.
Yeah, like I feel that if that would have been like, for example, instead of okay, now I'm being the idiot that's trying to rewrite the movie. Hey, that's my job. So I would have liked if instead of having the different teams, these were different clans that cover the different sectors of Tokyo. And it's all about relationships between these different clans or whatever. And maybe like these challenges or battle core occurs as a means of being able to pass through the other side or whatever. You know what I
So
mean?
you want to break them up into the four nations, and then yeah, I
Yes.
get it.
Yes.
Avatar reference.
I mean,
Everybody.
we definitely got the Fire Nation, which for some reason are the only ones with jet boots. Actually,
That's a very Fire Nation thing, honestly.
yes. Not only that, that's a very Super Mario's 1999 thing. But we're not. That's neither here or there.
I just and not to prevent Isaac from talking even more, but I just feel like Ibuchi isn't an interesting main character, and I wanna liken that to My Hero Academia, for example. That's something we cover a lot here on the channel. I feel like everybody has a basis understanding of that series. Shoto Todoroki is one of my favorite characters, but I don't think he'd be able to hold the series on his own.
No.
And I feel like Hibaji is kind of the same type of character build where if he was in conjunction with somebody a little more interesting, a little more likable, that can work. But if he's the lead with Uta, who we don't understand at all, really half the time, that's what I mean by like I'm not connecting with these characters and they're boring, because by all accounts, Shoto Todoroki himself is a boring character, but it's his relationship with Deku, Endeavor, Bakugo that kind of fleshes that out a little bit.
And I'm glad that you say that because, and no, Isaac, we are gonna let you talk.
It was just at the beginning I was thinking about.
But one of the great things about what you just said is that some characters are simply built that way.
Yeah.
They're built boring because technically seeming boring makes them perfect for the story that you want to tell with them and how the surroundings are going to enrich their story.
Right.
Because and I'm going to go on a fucking sorry. Don't care. I'm going to go on a limb here.
I swear like a sailor here constantly at times.
It's been a long day.
So you're fine.
Luke Skywalker is not an interesting character in A New Hope. He's just the main guy because someone had to be the main guy in the farm or in the desert. You know what I mean? He becomes interesting when he gets in touch with Obi-Wan. When we find out about the droids and how he interacts with them, how he interacts with people and how his world blows up. That's what makes him interesting.
Yeah.
That's because, and it's kind of weak. And I think it goes to what you're saying. It's kind of weak that the main character doesn't become interesting until Uta shows up. And like, yes, he's interesting because he can do battle core better than everybody. But then again, that's every shonen character. Every major shonen character is able to do something that nobody else can, or cannot do something that everybody else can. He either can do something better than everybody else, or he cannot do something unlike everybody else. That's like a typical like teenage shonen character.
Yeah.
But he kind of doesn't become interesting till Uta shows up. Which again is the point because it's a relationship kind of. But I can see where you're coming from, Mike.
Gojo was interesting before Marin. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so Isaac.
I mean, to like some extent, I do believe that your guys are criticism are valid, honestly, because this because, like I said, this is a movie that is focusing on emotion, and something that is focusing on emotion is going to connect with people differently depending on the approach, because we can all agree on that that's the main theme of the movie in general. Sort of like you said that Frozen 2 is focusing on stuff like that. And you connected with that movie. I didn't connect with that movie, or vice versa. It's all about it's the measure of when he said you need to have more fear, sort of like that, and he needs to handle it all. Just coming in conclusion with the situation and learn more and all that jazz. It connected with me, so to speak. So it's so this is more. But I agree. I can't say that you guys are wrong yourself, because I can totally see where you guys are coming from.
You know what? I can see your appreciation for key moments, key scenes, quotes. I can see that because that was a very good line. Because see, if we would have focused on that aspect of Ibiki, that's his name, right? Ibiki, right? If we would have focused on that aspect of Ibiki, the fact that he did care, but from a distant planet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And focus on the team and on that dynamic, that would have been more interesting to me because then you can make it, you can find a way through the team, through the teammates to make it personal for Ibiki without introducing Uta into the mix. But then again, you have to introduce Uta because if not, it's not the Little Mermaid. But that that was a pun. But that's where I think the biggest problem that I see is that in on very 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 small moments it kind of knows what it wants to be, but on the most of it, it doesn't know what it wants. So we don't know what it wants. And like, it's funny that the strongest thing that the movie has going for it, apart, is actually its direct line similitude to the Little Mermaid. That's really its strongest connection to some. So there's nothing in and of itself that makes it stand out crazy or. Yeah, does that make sense, or am I being too harsh? Like,
That makes sense to me. That probably Isaac would disagree, but that's fine. We
but
understand your
like,
point.
but I wanted it to, like Isaac. I wanted it to be more that way, because
I can understand that.
yeah,
I can
I
understand
kind
that.
of wanted it to be a series, but I kind of wanted it to be something like,
Here's the thing with Bubble. If you can, uh, I can agree with all the criticism that you guys had, but it's just a note new from the beginning of the. Wait just a sec.
So while Isaac steps away for a second there, I'm gonna just fill the void until he comes back. It's I agree with
bubble
you, Brandon.
jokes with Michael Bublé. No,
So I agree with you, Brandon, though, on the idea of its core theme isn't something that it's set up itself. It's impendent on the story of the Little Mermaid, right? And it's causing you to draw that parallel instead of hint alluding to that same theme on its own.
right,
And I feel like that's a failing on the writing staff
right,
or whoever's going through the script of
because
like, yeah,
Hibiki says mermaid, and then she shows up, and the phone, and then she can't touch him, and then of course we have to read the book, The Little Mermaid, and then we have to reference the book every four scenes,
yep.
which
And
is
it's weird because the I would say the most well-known version of the Little Mermaid is the Disney version, which is not like the story they're referencing in this movie. So
sadly,
I so I
and
honestly
I don't think this is the original Little Mermaid either. This is a particular version that they used, so it's not even like the original version.
I'm I think it might be the original version. I could be wrong there,
No,
but
I think the original version is the one where the mermaid eats the guy.
Yeah, it what meets to eat the heart, and
and
it's instead becomes one with the
Isaac is back.
wind.
with daring facts of mythology by the Mad
But
Punster.
And you sounds like a robotic for a second.
I want to toss it back to you, Isaac, in a sec. I just want to finish up my point while I was filling time for you. Is that it's it could have got away with just hinting at those themes without mentioning the Little Mermaid at all. Especially since it's not the most well-known version of that story.
Correct.
It didn't have to source its plot from the Little More or show its work, if that makes sense. A whole school adjective of you have to show your work, show your progress. It's like, no, you could have just hinted at that idea, that theme, without going, hey, we're trying to remind you guys of this. Sorry, go ahead, Isaac.
Use the Little Mermaid.
Wait, before I go, you sound extremely robotic right now. I think you should try and fix your mic.
I should be fine. I'm a robot.
No, you're extremely static, and my ear hurts from hearing it from the headphones.
Am I better now?
No.
Isaac, just let him be Cyborg for the rest of the episode. What were you about to say, man?
What I'm gonna say that your guys' criticism for this movie are completely valid. I'm not even gonna try to make an argument against it and all that jazz, because there are flaws in it. Some obvious flaw in it, I can even say. But the first thing I was thinking when I saw this movie, that this is a movie that I either gonna enjoy or dislike. It's not really a middle ground in this movie. It's sort of like this Bubble is that kind of movie, and which is why I think that your guys' comment about it all is I can totally see it, and if that makes any sense.
I think the reason why I'm particularly being very harsh on it is because I really wanted to like it. Like, I was really enthused with the film, with the trailer, and I wanted it to be the next Weathering with You. You know what I mean? And maybe that's not fair, but at the same time, the trailer kind of makes it look like this grand adventure. Does that make sense?
You are setting a really high bar.
Well,
if you're
it's true.
wanted
I am.
to be agree with you, because it's a high bar.
No, you're right. You're totally right. But the trailer sold me something, and it didn't deliver when it sold me, or at least on what I believe I was being sold.
So here's the thing, and I get, Isaac, you're saying it's a really high bar, but that's unfortunately WIT Studios, the studio we love. That's a bar we thought that they could reach. It's not like we were setting major expectations for that movie with that idea, because it's the studio that brought us the first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan. It's the studio that's giving us our favorite anime of the year so far in SpyXFamily. And so we have faith in them in the same way. For example, you look at, I don't know, like Marvel Studios, you understand you're going to get a certain level of quality. It might not be a masterpiece, but you expect them to at least hit this threshold. Right. And for me, Bubble just didn't, considering everything I've seen from WIT, I've adored. So I feel like expecting it to be the next Weathering with You is not crazy high expectations. It might be high expectations, sure, I'll give you that, but we knew that they can do that if they
I know,
really went
but this wasn't a director for Weathering with You. That's the key point I'm trying to say. This guy, this director, watching it, he's done only TV series mostly. The only other big thing he has done besides Attack on Titan is Black Lagoon.
You say only big thing besides the greatest anime ever made. You see my point, though?
Isaac,
yes, but
I will have faith in whoever I want to have faith in. Let me believe, Isaac.
Yes, but TV series and movies are totally different genres, but considering it stretches out comparison to a movie, the director for Weathering with You might not be able to do the same thing that he makes in a
Maybe,
movie
but
that he
I'm not
makes in a
saying it's
TV
too high
series.
expectations because the directors of Community went on to make Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Infinity War, and Endgame. So, I'm not gonna say, hey, you're a TV guy, you can't make the leap.
Yo, Mike, you didn't have to kill the guy. Okay, calm down.
My mistake. Didn't
No,
mean to burst your bubble.
but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Isaac. I do understand, and I think, like I said before, I really wanted to like this film. I really wanted it to be something special because I felt that it was selling me something special. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I felt.
Maybe I went in with a different expectation. Maybe I had a different reaction than you guys because, well, like I said, I didn't even watch the trailers before I saw the movie.
Well, that may be something that probably helped you. You went in cold. I didn't. I felt that I've seen something, and I felt that it had something to give. So I went looking for that, and that maybe ruined part of the movie for me. But notwithstanding, a lot of my criticisms on it still are there. So
And that is destiny fulfilled. We literally bursted Brandon's bubble. Um,
What happened to him?
we bursted his bubble. He's back now. Hey, buddy.
What happened?
I think Bubble told me, get out of my stream. You're talking too much.
I don't have anything else to add to this one, guys.
Yeah,
I didn't despise this movie by any stretch. I know we've been really hard on it, but
Yeah.
we just wanted it to be something way more than it ended up being. And again, WIT Studios they're not noobs to this. Even the director, even
Yeah.
if it's one of their first features, they still again contributed to one of the greatest anime of all time in Shingeki no Kyojin. So I feel like the expectations were valid. It just didn't stick the landing for Brandon and I, but I'm glad that Isaac at least was able to find the good in it.
That's
always
that's
awesome.
the beauty about anime that we've talked about numerous times. There's something for everybody to enjoy.
I just find it so funny that it's either you guys, we are in the middle ground, everyone likes it, or if I mostly, how should I say it? If one of you dislike it, it's probably I'm the only one that likes it. If you catch my drift.
Brandon and I just have very similar tastes. That's all. That's what's going to happen most of the time.
That is true, which is why you're the perfect buffer.
Boom.
It's amazing.
Okay,
Boom
then
goes
he
my-
has to. So I guess he needs to join in on Sword Art Online whenever we are
Oh my
putting in
God.
that coverage.
We gotta
And
have a conversation about that. But Isaac, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah.
check us out, buddy.
Well, I was just thinking, classic that since you guys have nothing else to say. But Mike, where can we find you, brother?
Oh yeah, you guys can find me at Novice Cinephile on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube.com/Novice Cinephile. Um, I plan to get back to a lot of stuff on the YouTube side of things, so I'm trying to make sure I knock out Fully Coolly, any other video essays, and of course the chatter after that. That's a podcast the three of us host where we talk about non-anime films and television shows or whatever we feel like covering over there. So make sure you check that out too on Twitter at the Chatter After and wherever you get your podcasts. And here, just about every week, talking all things My Hero Academia or whatever random Netflix movie we want to cover next. The Summit of the Gods and Bubble are two completely different films, but I just really appreciate Netflix going really hard in the anime genre.
Yes. No, they become a titan on animation. It's been great.
A
Can't wait for
colossal
Love, Sex, and
titan.
Robots. Yeah, can't wait for Love, Sex, and Robots. That's just a great show.
I need to ask you one thing before Brandon takes the stage.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
What dog loves to take bubble baths?
What, Isaac?
A shampoodle.
You know what? I respect that one. That one wasn't terrible. I'll give it to you. Bubble
Brandon,
Boy, where can we
where
find you,
can
man?
You can find me at the Shampoodle store. Um, you can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter, at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Instagram, and at the Scarlet Fan 52 on TikTok. Even though I have no idea what I'm doing there, I co-host the Shadow After with my girlfriend Mike. We do have a couple of things coming up, so keep in tune with that. But yeah, that's where you can find me. It's awesome.
Yeah, and well, you can find my work at Webm Entertainment, and you can find me at Amateur Otaku and the Chatter After at times, where I recently roasted the Avengers while the other guys loved it. We did that with Mario. We did that with
To
Mario
quote the
from
great Isaac, he said sour milk.
yeah,
And that's the
and I
taste this
stand.
movie left in my mouth.
Damn. At least it didn't go over budget.
I
I'm
love
not
inside
gonna.
jokes.
Yeah, you're not gonna that one down, aren't you?
Ever.
Well, you still call me Aquaman, so but
Good night, everybody.
good. And well, good night, everybody.
Have it awesome.
Peace.
Peace.